Well, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has told Pakistan's Prime Minister to condemn last week's deadly attack in Indian-administered Kashmir. Rubio urged Shehbaz Sharif to help India investigate the massacre of 26 people in the disputed territory. India blames Pakistan for the killings, but Islamabad denies involvement. Fears of a war between the two nuclear-armed neighbours are growing. India has now closed its airspace to Pakistani planes, and Pakistan says it has evidence that India is planning a military assault.
As tensions between India and Pakistan rise, the human impact deepens. People living on both sides of the border have had their visas cancelled, forced to uproot their lives by a situation beyond their control. Sarah is a Pakistani married to an Indian. She and her newborn baby are now being forced back to Pakistan.
The authorities told me you are legal and you should leave. I just gave birth to my son. He is 14 days old. I had to get a C-section operation done. I'm not supposed to travel because my stitches were only removed last night.
17-year-old Mohammed was in India for medical treatment, hoping to regain some use of his legs. He planned to return to Pakistan with his Indian mother and Pakistani father.
I'm paralysed. I went to India with hope that I was going in a wheelchair but would return on my own feet, but that hope's been broken. Our mother went along with us, but the Indian authorities told us that Indian passport holders are not allowed to cross, and they stopped her at the border.
The Kashmir attack risks reopening old wounds. Politicians in India want action.
It is pretty clear who is responsible for this. The people who are responsible for this must pay a price. The Prime Minister must not dilly-dally, must not waste time, must make it very clear that India is not going to tolerate this type of nonsense. So he needs to act.
Politicians in Pakistan are vowing to defend their country.
Pakistan has never been the aggressor. Pakistan has never done provocation. But when it comes to defending the homeland, Pakistan will defend. Pakistan will respond effectively, decisively, and assuredly.
With the rhetoric from both Delhi and Islamabad becoming increasingly bellicose, those stuck in the middle can only hope that cooler heads prevail.
For more on this, let's bring in DW's Delhi Bureau Chief, Sandra Petersmann. Sandra, Pakistan said it had intelligence of an imminent strike by India. Now it's been over 24 hours since that claim was made. What do officials in Delhi have to say?
Well, they are usually very tight-lipped. The step that we saw yesterday was the closing of Indian airspace to all aircraft either registered in Pakistan or operated by Pakistani airlines. Yesterday, the last 24 hours also saw a flurry of meetings here in Delhi, and the messaging after remained consistent, basically indicating to the public that the Prime Minister has given complete operational freedom to the Indian forces, meaning that it's India's military that can decide on the mode, on the timing, and on the kind of any possible military action against Pakistan at this stage. The opposition here in Delhi has meanwhile requested a special session of the parliament, as the opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi, wrote in a letter to Prime Minister Modi, let me quote here, "At this crucial time, India must show that we always stand united against terrorism." So the home front here in Delhi seems to be united, Anthony.
Sandra, the US Secretary of State also spoke with his Indian counterpart. Do we know any details about that conversation?
We do. Let's look at the official statement that was released after the conversation between Marco Rubio and his Indian counterpart, Jai Shankar. A following statement was issued. The Secretary expressed his sorrow for the lives lost in the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam and reaffirmed the United States' commitment to cooperation with India against terrorism. But the statement doesn't stop here. Let me continue quoting. He also encouraged India to work with Pakistan to de-escalate tensions and maintain peace peace and security in South Asia. Now, if I were to analyze this in short, while expressing solidarity with India, the United States do not publicly blame Pakistan for the attack in Pahalgam. The US is asking for de-escalation. The US is in fact asking India to cooperate with Pakistan. The US is clearly indicating that it wants to avoid another conflict, especially in a region that is so crucial to its own geostrategic interest, the Indo-Pacific, where the US needs India as a counterbalance to China. And if we look at India and Pakistan, let's not forget that both countries are nuclear-armed states, so any military action can have serious consequences far beyond the region. Also, given that Kashmir is contested not only between two parties, but three parties, a smaller portion of it is controlled by China, which makes it three nuclear powers that are involved in this conflict. And any mistake, any military mistake, could really spiral into something far more serious here.
And aside from the geopolitical powers involved, what about the people in the middle of the crisis? How are the Kashmiris coping with this uncertainty?
Well, they are obviously bearing the brunt of the consequences. 9 days have passed since that ghastly attack in Pahalgam, and the Kashmiris are hugely affected by the consequences. If you look at the region, obviously, the massive manhunt for the perpetrators, 4 to 5 militants, is ongoing. 2 of them are believed to be Pakistani nationals, according to Indian investigative agencies. And we see a massive security crackdown. Hundreds of people have been detained, have been brought into police stations for questioning. Houses of alleged militants have been destroyed. And let's also not forget the economic consequences. So many Kashmiris depend on tourism for their livelihood, but the summer season in Kashmir has been anything but crushed by this ghastly attack, and millions are now fearing for their livelihood because tourism is not happening by all the cancellations that we are seeing in the region.
DW's Sandra Petersmann in Delhi. Thank you.